Welcome guys to yet again another home range poultry video. Now on today's video, the main thing that we're going to be talking about is this raised floor poultry house for 500 birds. Now this raised floor poultry house for 500 birds, a lot of people have always asked me, how much does it cost to build it? And of course, often I usually just give you a short answer, which is you can just send an SMS with the word house to our contact number, which is 0727 200 116. And our automated system will actually send you a guide on how to actually acquire these BQs, or the bill of quantities, on how to build that house. And that bill of quantities actually also contains the full list of costs. Now, on today's video, my focus is going to be basically on this raised for poultry house, and as far as the advantages are concerned and the cost is concerned. Let us start off. So why is it that I chose to use this raised for poultry house? Now, when I started my poultry farming, this kind of poultry house did not exist, and most people had not adopted it. What most people are using is the deep litter system kind of a house. And in that particular house, you find that the chicken was stepping on the floor. And the issues that I had with that is that you'd find that in most farms when you go there, you find that the chicken are really stepping on the ground and they are eating from their poop. And of course, all the feed that falls into the ground, they eat. And this was actually causing a lot of diseases. So I figured out that there's got to be a better way to do this house to prevent some of these issues. So what are some of the advantages that I noted with my poultry house? Now, my raised for poultry house has one major advantage, and that is you find that the chicken don't stay inside their droppings. So you find that they step on a wire and their poultry droppings actually drop under them and they don't get to stay in them. Now, what is the advantage of this? The major advantage for this is that you find that your chicken are not so susceptible to bacterial diseases which are arising from them ingesting their chicken droppings. So this house is fantastic in minimizing bacterial diseases in your flock. The other advantage that you found is that this structure actually on the sides, the walls for the sides are largely made up of a wire and some plywood. And so you find that this house has very good ventilation. And this of course contributes to ensuring that there's minimal respiratory diseases in your flock. Now, respiratory diseases such as the CRD, or the chronic respiratory diseases, are basically caused by your chicken being in a purely ventilated space, and there's a lot of congestion. So you find that these viral diseases actually spread very fast in your flock. So one of the advantages of this house, and one of the key things that I actually noticed, is that I have never ever experienced CRD, or the chronic respiratory diseases, in any of my flock for the last 10 years. And this has been largely contributed by ensuring that this poultry house is very well ventilated. Now, the other major advantage of this poultry house, as you can see, is that someone does not need to go inside to actually put feed for their chicken. So you find that you'll be standing outside, and in this case, there's ease of feeding. So you don't have to go inside and interact with the chicken and start getting out the feeders or anything. The feeder is actually a horizontal feeder, which is on the external side of the house. And it's very easy for you as a farmer to be able to put food inside. So of course, this really minimizes as far as labor is concerned, and time. So the other major advantage of this poultry house is that you would find that I built it such that the egg collection is being done from the rear or from the back of the chicken house. Now this again eases your management of the flock, and you're able to collect your eggs very, very easily from the rear of the chicken house without really ever interacting with the chicken. The other major advantage that you experience with this raised for poultry house is that you find that there's also security for your chicken from predators, predators like rats, snakes, and all that, because you realize that the house is raised. That's number one. And number two, the house is designed so that it is largely like a cage where there's a wire all around, and that your chicken are enclosed in this sort of cage. And this of course ensures that there are no predators that actually go inside the poultry house to actually attack your chicken. The other major advantage that you note with this poultry house is that there's minimum human-bird interaction, meaning that you as a human being are not interacting continuously with this chicken. Why? Because you're feeding them from outside and you're collecting your eggs from the outside. So it ensures that these common activities of feeding and egg collection that are done on a very regular basis within the course of the day, they are done when you're outside. So this ensures that there's minimal human-bird interaction, meaning that you as a human being don't get to take diseases inside the poultry house. And also, it's also safe for you because you also don't get to pick up diseases from the chicken house or from the chicken directly. Last but not least, of course, one of the major advantages of this house was to do with the issue of cost of construction. Now, when I started out, I noticed that most people who are using the deep litter poultry house, you find that this house, the cost of construction was actually pretty steep and pretty high. And that was also prohibitive because it means that you could only manage to build a very small house. But in our case with this raised for poultry house, because it largely just consists of chicken wire, wire mesh, some timber, and you know, a few nails here and there. So, and of course there's, you know, minimal pieces of iron sheets for the roofing. So you find this house, the cost of construction is very low. And talking of cost of construction, our today's video is largely going to focus on the key costs that you're going to incur in building this 500 bird poultry house. Now, to start us off, this poultry bird house has dimensions of a length of 36 feet with a width of 8 feet and a height of 9.5 feet. Now again, like I said from the beginning of this video, you can actually request for the BQs or the bill of quantities, and the bill of quantities largely contains the exact dimensions for this structure, including how much timber or iron sheets or wire mesh that you require. And this is very, very important because it's able not only to guide you as far as the total cost is concerned, but it's also able to guide you when you're buying materials, so that you don't rely on someone else when you're buying materials who may misdirect you or end up making you buy extra materials that end up going to waste. So by having the BQs, you're able to buy the exact quantities of materials that you need, and of course this helps you to be able to minimize costs that may have resulted from you relying on a fundi who will give you extra materials, and then those materials end up either being appropriated or stolen by the fundis, or, you know, worst case scenario, just being left there unused, and of course that causes a waste. So as far as the construction is concerned, these are basically the cost for this 500 poultry house. So first and foremost, you have construction materials that are going to cost you 140, 260 Kenya shillings. And this is deduced from the list or the bill of quantities that I have already mentioned that you can acquire. That gives an outline of all the construction materials along with the quantities and the unit cost for each one of them. That will actually bring you to this total construction cost of 140, 260 shillings. The other, of course, key aspect of construction or cost that you will incur is, of course, labor cost, unless, of course, you're able to build the structure yourself. So as far as the labor cost is concerned, so to build this structure would require about 4 fundis, and it will require about 5 days. And assuming you're paying a fundi like in our local place, you pay them about 500 shillings per day. So you mean for the 4 fundis for 500 shillings per day per fundi, for the 5 days, it's going to cost you an additional 10,000 shillings, meaning that your total cost of construction for this poultry house will be 150,260 shillings. Now this is really economical because you're talking of a cost of housing per bird of only 300 shillings. In other words, what I'm saying is that it has cost you only 300 shillings to build a poultry house for each one of your bird for the entire duration of your rearing period. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope you've learned something. Please don't forget to check out the other videos regarding the cost of construction of a 200 bird house and also a 100 bird house. Check those videos out in our channel. And of course, don't forget to subscribe, like our videos to help us continue to bring you more awesome stuff like this. Thanks for watching, guys.